Welcome to Inexpert Film Advice. Welcome to Inexpert Film Advice, where I give my inexpert advice on film and filmmaking. Today we are talking about how to write a story. But before we get started, I want to make sure you know about my Patreon page. Patreon is really the best and most helpful way to make sure I'm producing this content every week. Just click the link in the description below and it'll take you to my Patreon page. You can donate a little or a lot. Any amount helps really, just donate what you can. Now into the Inexpert Film Advice. Now I get this question all the time. I want to write stories, but I don't know how. Honestly, it's really simple. Here's how you do it. First and foremost, you need to be open to inspiration. Now, you can't teach inspiration. Inspiration is something that's different for everybody. But you need to be open to inspiration, meaning you need to always be looking for opportunities to be inspired. Honestly, I could write a story about anything. Literally anything, because I am open to inspiration. But here are some of the ways I'm most easily inspired. Talk to people. Talking to people and listening to their life stories and listening to things that they have gone through helps me with creating characters and helps me with creating backstories and stories in general. Look at images. There's something that's incredibly inspiring about images. I like to look for new images every day just so I can be inspired. Look for great images in photography, painting, film and television, or just in real life. Images really have a way of sticking with you and inspiring you. Trust me. Look at art. Art inspires art. That's why every artist cites their favorite artist as inspiration. Listen to music, go to plays, watch dancing, of course watch movies. Art inspires art, so get inspired by art. Okay, next you need to come up with what type of story that you want to tell. Now this isn't really that important at this early stage in writing, but having some idea of what kind of story you want to tell makes things a little bit easier. Although sometimes you can set out to write a certain type of story and then end up writing something completely different. Now the type of story that you want to write depends solely on you. Look at the stories that you yourself tend to be drawn to. Write those type of stories. It's all about writing what you know and being inspired by things that are already present in your life. Okay, now that you have your inspiration and you have the type of story you want to tell, it's time to think about the story itself. Think about the beginning, the middle, and the end. Break it down to those three parts and nothing more. What do you want to happen and where do you want it to end? That way you'll have some general idea of where you're going with this story. After you have a general idea of where you want to go with the story, start thinking about characters. Stories are about characters. First, think about your antagonist and your protagonist and their relation to one another. Why are they at odds with each other? What are their motivations in life? Why do they do the things that they do? Those two forces are going to be the things that drive your story forward. Now, you can have multiple antagonists and protagonists. It really doesn't matter. It's all up to you. After you think of those characters, you want to think of the supporting cast around those characters. Now, typically stories don't just involve one or two people. There are the main characters and then there's a supporting cast around those characters. Don't just throw in random characters just to have characters. Give your supporting characters a purpose in the story. Are they helping the antagonist? Are they helping the protagonist? Are they developing the story in any way? These are the questions you should ask yourself when writing characters. Now, after you have all your important characters in mind, start writing slight backstories on them to give them a little more depth. Trust me, it'll make it easier when you're writing the story. Now, after all of that, it's time to draft out your story. Now, there are some people that don't like to draft. I'm one of them. Trust me, but keep in mind, I do not like to draft, but drafting makes things so much easier. And it really eliminates writer's block completely. Now, I'm going to give you two ways to draft. The first way is the easiest way. I like to call it the flow method of drafting. You really just sit down and write the entire story from beginning to end in one page. This way you'll have something to go back to when you're writing the story and you won't have to constantly stop and think of what you're doing next. The next is a little bit more organized. You want to take your story and break it down into parts. The first part being the inciting incident. The inciting incident is what kicks off the story. What makes the story happen? Why are we watching this? Why are these characters moving forward in their lives? Now, the second thing you want to do is write down the rising action, meaning everything that's happening up until the climax. You want to write down every part of the story that you want to happen, and they should be no more than a sentence. Then you write the climax, the part of the story that draws your audience in and makes them wonder what's going to happen next. Now, after that, you want to write the falling action. Everything after the climax is the falling action. For instance, in Star Wars, the climax is when Obi-Wan dies, and everything after is the falling action. Following the falling action, you want to write your story's resolution, meaning how do you tie everything together? How are things solved? Now, I'm no expert, but I've been writing since I was 6 years old, and I've taken multiple writing classes. These are some of the things that I've learned in some of the writing classes that I felt were most helpful to me in my everyday writing. So I'm sharing it with you. But that's all I got for you this week. But before we go, I want to give you the movie of the week for January 20th, 2017. I messed that one up. Anyway, the movie of the week is The Third Man. Great noir film, one of my favorite films, one of my favorite noir films. It's constantly mentioned as one of the best noir films of all time, and I agree. Definitely check it out and let me know what you think in the comment section below. You can also let me know what you think by following me on all forms of social media. My social media handle is @DeonteDJ. It's also here and linked in the description below. Now, as always, give this video a like if you feel like it helped you, pass it on to a friend if you feel like it can help them, and subscribe to the channel for more Inexpert film advice. Once again, I'm Deonte Jenkins, and that was my Inexpert advice. I'll see you next time.